What's up, YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 with a Naruto manga 553 prediction rant. It's a little late, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and give my thoughts. I'm pretty sure everybody's read the chapter by now, and it has to do with we know Nagato gets sealed and Kabuto complains like he always does with all the Edo Tenseis, but actually he said something a little different this time that he's gonna use his trump card. And I'm gonna get to back to his trump card in a second, but then we also see Itachi talk to Naruto about how he is as far as his arrogance, because Naruto Itachi said he's gonna come up with a plan to stop Edo Tensei, which, to be honest, I think he's probably just gonna put a genjutsu on Kabuto and just force him to end the jutsu, kind of like how everybody else said, you're supposed to do, but Kabuto is obviously going to have something up his sleeve, which is going to be kind of weird to see Kabuto own Itachi. I mean, Orochimaru couldn't even do that. He got owned every time. But, it's kind of interesting to see Itachi talk to Naruto and set him straight, because Naruto got kind of like, I guess, arrogant, because he said he was going to handle it all by himself, and Itachi said, you need your friends. And it's kind of cool to see Tachi actually even mention, talk about how he tried to do everything alone to save Sasuke, and he couldn't even do it. I'm like, and he's passing the torch. And it kind of shows, they bring that up a lot in Naruto, like talk about the will of fire and whatnot and stuff like that, passing the torch, and it's almost like he's passing that to Naruto, like hey, you handle Sasuke. Naruto's kind of been doing that already, but it's gonna be interesting to see that fight. Itachi, burned the crow, and I actually, don't mind him getting rid of the crow. Honestly, if he would have had that crow, because some people, got kind of upset about it, would he even be fighting Sasuke then? If he were somehow to activate it again, he would never fight Sasuke. He would never fight. It would just end up being, oh, okay, he's coming back to the village. He's protecting Konoha. Now he's gonna have to fight him, and do the whole trade fist or whatnot, of the like where you can read each other's minds, which would be kind of interesting to see. So, kind of wondering, is there gonna be a lot of talking in that fight, or is it just gonna be kind of like mostly fighting? Hardly any words spoken, which would be awesome. I would love that as one of the final fights in Naruto. Just no talking, just all fight. And what else is going with this, guys? Oh yeah, then we see the Kages get owned, which I'm kind of pissed about. See, I've had my hopes up for this war, and I think this war, I think there are really good parts of it. Some people, act like there's no good parts, because we have the whole, Edo Tensei comes out, does some beast stuff, then they get owned easily. It's not really a fight. It's almost like they just do a couple moves and somebody just owns them easily. Which I think you also have to think about too, is like, of course they're not going to probably be going doing everything out of the book or every trick or fighting as hard as we want them to see fighting it, because they don't want to fight me, and people have been shown to resist it. So I'm pretty sure they are doing some kind of form of resisting. I think that's what Kishimoto's kind of trying to show. But you know, it still doesn't, I think, excuse for like the third right Kage getting owned by a bunch of random ass ninjas. That doesn't make sense. Like, what the hell? Like, really? But it's kind of cool to see. Mu is the only one who's really seems like he's actually owning people. About to kill the Tsuchikage, the current one, the third one, I believe, third Tsuchikage. But to be honest, I'm like, we saw a guard jumped in front of him and all that, and then we saw Rasengan in the last panel. Some people saying, "Oh, it's not Naruto." It's obviously is Naruto, but it's probably gonna be a clone. I am just hoping, please, that Mu does not get owned by that Rasengan, or if he does get hit or something, that he is not just sealed up in like 2 seconds. I want to actually see him and the Tsuchikage or guard, and Mu or something. I want them to have a decent fight, a really decent fight. I want to see some more explosions. I want to see him whipping out some kind of ultimate jutsu, I mean, I'm not even saying that one of them has to die. I just want to see a really decent fight. Because every time the fights start to get really, really good, then that's when Kishimoto's cutting away from them, and I'm just like, okay, come on, Kishimoto, just let us see how Mu does. I want to see him fight. I want to see him fight, but oh, I mean, it's kind of it'll be disappointing if he doesn't. Naruto just does like he did with that other Edo Tensei guy when he first came into the war and just knocked him out with one Rasengan and sealed him away. That would be kind of disappointing. But as far as everything I think will happen in the next chapter. Well, I've kind of explained some of it, in between, while I explain, how talking about how the chapter went. But I never touched upon that jutsu that Kabuto has. To be honest, I'm thinking that jutsu, even though it's not really something that I could see Kabuto, using for, the entire war. I kind of think of like, remember how Orochimaru had that little jutsu he could switch bodies with? I'm kind of wondering if that's gonna be something that Kabuto uses. In fact, we know he brought back all those people. So what if he somehow, merged bodies with somebody who's an Edo Tensei body? Does that mean that he'll now be invincible? That no longer will, like if somebody blows him up, that he'll just reform his body just like all they do? I mean, all of them do. So is that what he's talking about, or is it just some completely new technique? Which actually I wouldn't mind if it was a completely new technique. And what else about Kabuto? Or I'm wondering if when he's talking about his trump card, was he talking about that coffin that we saw back when he first made his deal with Madara and got him to make that deal? I'm like, I know a lot of people say, oh, that's Madara. Yeah, that's possible. It's possible. I don't think it's Izuna, though. A lot of people say, oh, Izuna. I'm like, I don't know about that. Izuna died. If you ever look at the data book or anything like that, think the data book, the little Naruto third data book or whatnot, I think they say Izuna died because he had none of his eyes. So if he came back, that means he wouldn't have any eyes because he lost his eyes before he died. I'm like, so I don't know. It's just it wouldn't he wouldn't really be much help at all. Really, I mean, he's not saying he wouldn't be strong, but he actually it's not like he just died of old age. He did actually get killed by some ninjas, from back then because he couldn't see. So I don't think people would have too much trouble now owning him either. But that's just what I think. I think it may be possibly be the stage six paths now. I know a lot of people like, oh, it doesn't make sense to have a stage six paths. I mean, reason why I think it may be possible to have stage six paths. For one, it's not like he's gonna have the Ten Tails power. I mean, he's gonna still be overpowered probably because he did, have it at one point. But I mean, it would really present a great challenge. That would actually make the tide of the war change slightly if you think about it. If he's brought out the Sage of the Six Paths, people, Kage's probably couldn't even handle him. Naruto would have to step in there. Possibly the Edo Tensei would have to be ended. That's all I have to say. What else could they do? I mean, Edo Tensei is pretty strong jutsu. I mean, everybody knows that, but I'm thinking that since Kabuto has to have a certain control over someone, that's probably why we haven't seen his trump card come out yet. Because he's been losing, you know, quite a few people, so it's not like he has to really control those people anymore. And maybe the Sage Six Pass requires a great deal of control over, otherwise he won't be able to control him. He'll just end up like Itachi somehow. Although we do have to remember, Itachi didn't just, resist the control and just break out of it. He did have something else break him out of the Edo Tensei, because sometimes people act like Itachi just broke himself out. Like, well, I mean, if he would never use the Manga Sharingan, he would have, stayed like that. I mean, or better yet, if Naruto wouldn't have been there, then Itachi would have stayed the way he was and been controlled by Kabuto. So that was just luck, actually, if you think about it. The Naruto was there, Itachi had planted the crow into him, and he had activated on Itachi. Um, but overall, I'd say that I would say the chapter was probably about, to me, like a 3 out of 5. I didn't really. I mean, it was decent. I didn't really love it, but I didn't hate it either. I think there were actually, to be honest, better chapters this week, on the other shonens. But I'm getting into that my other prediction rant. So if you want to see that, what my thoughts are on the other ones, and feel free to look at them when they're up. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This is Game on Cloud 9, and I'll see you later.